Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Black Heel Podcast. We have a full stacked episode talking about three trailers, then moving on to Craven the Hunter, then Skeleton Crew, then Creature Commandos, and ending with a character spotlight that I know everyone will love. So let's get right into this and go right into talking about which trailer would you like to talk about first, Mike?
Yeah, we probably should have figured this out first.
I just realized, I was like, we got three trailers, and I was like, why don't we do it in order? What if first?
Yeah, the one that we don't remember.
I do remember.
Oh, you do?
I can't say I can remember verbatim, but I remember the key talking points I want to talk about. So
Okay.
we got to see more of kind of like the universe, it looks like, and it's making it seem, and we talked about this before, especially because it came out legitimately like what, like 6 hours after we recorded, 12.
It was less than that. It was like
Yeah,
we
it was
finished
ridiculous.
recording. I sat down to have lunch, and
I got that message. So it sounds like to me that they're combining all three seasons into this season.
This season is very much
everything.
Yeah, everything is coming together.
Like we're gonna have like new stories, obviously, for season 3.
Yeah.
But then we're going to. It sounds like to me, and I could be wrong, but it sounds like we're gonna have like our Avengers Endgame moment with
Mhm.
What If, where
Yeah.
we're gonna have everyone that has been left alive from the first 3 seasons, come out, and fight in some sort of capacity. And
Yeah.
the one area that I will have to say is that I'm a little concerned about is Uta, and I talked to you about this. Uta made a comment about, this is just the beginning, which gets me a little concerned that this is going to lead up to something else. Where I would rather this be the end.
Yeah.
I'd rather this not be another Venom situation. I'll say it that
Yeah,
way.
no, definitely. They're doing a lot of things lately where it's, oh, this is the end, but it's actually just a setup for something else. Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna say it's the end, make it the end. Don't.
That's what I mean. Like, I mean, I'm okay with characters like coming back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with like characters coming back from that, but they're like part of a new story.
Yeah.
Then I'm fine with it. But I don't want it to be one of those things where it's like, what if it's done? But now let's watch The Watcher. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather it be like, if what if's done, what if's done. You know what I mean? Like, don't make this be like, I want this to have a finite end, and then the characters can come back without a problem. But I don't want it to be like, this is leading up to the next big story of Marvel Universe, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I understand. It's like,
we also talked about it too, that we don't know the context of what he was saying. We're assuming because it was towards the end of the trailer that he says it, so we're like, oh, is it going to be this is going to be the end of the series where he brings it up?
For all we know, this could happen in the very first episode, and all the seasons building up from that.
We also talked about too the potential of it being a like a dual, like a part 2, meaning like it's an episode that has 2 parts.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about that, like being like, oh, and he'd be like, this isn't the end, it's only half of this, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we could be like, okay, that's fine, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is again, like you said, we're going off of a very short trailer.
Yep.
We don't have any context.
No.
Everything could change. It's just going off of how we're portraying the story, or how we're portraying the trailer.
I will say it looks like we're getting a Spider-Man villain in What If with Mysterio.
Yes, like we were talking about that very quickly. It's like that was a very quick clip it, and you were not sure if this was Mysterio, and I had to go back and look at it. I'm like, nope, that was definitely Mysterio.
The reason why I hesitated was because we had that conversation that Marvel's not allowed to use, or Disney's not allowed to use Sony characters.
Any character that Sony uses in their cinematic universe, Marvel is not allowed to use.
But what's weird is because I don't know if Spider-Man, like the Tom Holland ones, count towards that, because that's it's a weird, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
because technically Tom Holland's Spider-Man and his 3 movies were part of the MCU. Technically, all of those properties are a part of the MCU, so maybe Disney has the right to use them as they wish, as long as they're not the major characters.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess you're absolutely correct. I'm just saying, like, I was just surprised because the reason why I was hesitant on it being Mysterio was because of that conversation. Because I'm like, it
Yep.
looks like him. It looks like him. Like I'm getting that vibe based on everything. And then I'm like, well,
Yeah. I mean, we have to remember too. In What If season 1, there was a Spider-Man.
that
So
is true.
I mean,
No, you're absolutely right. So it's like we don't know the full parameters of everything.
yeah. No, this I'm gonna actually once we're done talking about the trailers and we go on to move into Craven, I want to talk about some things that I've been seeing come to light about the whole Sonyverse, because like it's getting so weird. Like some of the I'll give you a hint actually. So apparently in the Sonyverse, um Disney and Sony had an agreement to you, because we were talking about how, oh, you can't use the Tom Holland Spider-Man because Disney doesn't want to mix up with the Sonyverse and get that all confused. Apparently there are reports coming out that Disney actually gave Sony permission to use Tom Holland and Sony chose not to. They had permission to include Tom Holland Spider-Man in their movies, and they were actually considering bringing, instead of like there was rumors about how it was Andrew Garfield, they were actually considering using their own Spider-Man, like create a brand new Spider-Man. um, so this universe was just
I would have been okay with Toby. Like, and don't get me wrong, I love Toby, but I mean, like, he's just old in general. Where I wouldn't have cared if it was just somebody that we already knew.
yeah. I mean, at this point, like with how they're tying so many stories in, like, at the end of the day, Tom Holland Spider-Man would have made the most sense because of Morbius, but or is it Morbius or Mobius?
Mobius.
No,
Morbius. Mobius is from Loki.
Okay, Morbius. So Morbius was the vampire. Okay, so because of what happened, because
up on those names.
Yeah, they're very.
Yeah.
So because of what happened with Morbius and how Vulture got sucked into his universe, it would make sense for Tom Holland, but obviously they were trying to keep things separated. There was a lot of rumors that it was Andrew Garfield, especially after Madam Web and whatnot. But
yes,
yeah, I was seeing a lot of reports that within this last week that the Sonyverse was just so much more messed up than we realized.
It's so stupid because
they had no clear direction.
I thought it was Disney being a jerk. To be fair,
yeah, no, it was just
they had every right to be. I'm not arguing that. I'm just stating that that's why I thought. But all right. So anyway, that was pretty much it for What If, right? Because it was mostly the same stuff we had already seen.
Yeah, a little bit. They gave a little bit more context. I'll be honest.
Flashback. No. So they did a bunch of.
They did a lot of flashbacks from
season 2, and then they obviously did what I'm assuming is flashbacks of season 3, or like snippets of season 3.
Yep.
And then we get like the whole mecha suit, which was a whole big thing again. And it looks like we're also getting Supreme Strange back too.
Yeah, I was wondering if I'm. Because,
but I was like confused because I'm like, is it a flashback? Is it really him?
Is it a different Strange?
Exactly, because there's a million of them, right?
Because so I mean, like that one. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it shouldn't be that same Strange because he was killed off at the end of season 2.
But the idea, and this is a weird thought process, but time is considered to be circular.
Yeah.
So, like, it would repeat itself at some point. So therefore, he would exist again, and his universe would be destroyed again. For him to bring it back again, which would... I'm not saying it, like, makes sense.
Don't.
It's like the Kang the Conqueror theory, right?
Yeah.
He's got to continue to do all this stuff to make it circular, so he always comes back into power, and is just sitting on his throne watching it happen over and over and over again.
Yep.
That's the only thing that would make sense to me. However, it could have been just a flashback.
It could have, yeah. Like you said, this trailer, it just seems like it's more of them tying things together. So they could be taking clippets from the past seasons to help tie the story together. Correct. For all, like, I mean, these scenes in season 1 and 2 probably won't be in season 3. It's just they were using it for the context of the trailer.
I was also thinking too, it's to show like who we might be seeing in this. Like we're not going to be seeing these clips. We might be seeing those characters though.
Yep.
Which would, like I said, that's what made me think more of the Doctor Strange piece, where it's like those looked like flashbacks, but I wasn't confident.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
Um, but anyway, so yeah, that was What If. I mean, I'm excited for it. Ben's excited for it. That's never going to change.
Oh yeah. No, I
If
look for
anything, I'm
these.
just
These
pissed
are
off that
things
it's
that we look
over.
forward to every New Year. So it's going to be sad that this is going to go away.
That's legitimately my only issue. Like, as awful as it sounds, like my issue is it's done, or going to be done.
Should be
So
done.
the next one is Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn.
So Harley Quinn is finally getting so the Brainiac teaser for the end of Kite Man is apparently going to be for Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
Which threw me
apparently.
off.
Yeah,
I thought that was
no,
going to be Kite Man. So
I thought so too. Yep. No, that was interesting.
that was not what I was prepared for. Yeah,
I
and
mean,
then
it makes sense because the shows are tied together.
No, it does.
So
I just didn't think they were that linked. I'll say
no,
that way.
that definitely. I thought that was going to be like things that happen in Kite Man. We're going to stay in Kite Man, and things that happen in Harley Quinn going to stay in Harley Quinn.
Correct.
One of the big things right off the bat.
Bane.
Well, obviously Bane, as usual. Bane is going to be the highlight of the season. But no, I was going to say in the trailer they didn't talk about it whatsoever. Nightwing.
Yeah. Not even a little. Like they only talked about Harley Quinn.
Yeah, didn't give any hint of it. So
I'm wondering if it's the end. I hope not. But
I was like the fact that I saw Brainiac over Nightwing kind of threw me off, but yeah. I'm not. I mean, to be honest, like if they could keep it as a surprise, that's fine because you don't need to give everything in the trailer.
No. And realistically, we don't know the Brainiac situation, whether that's a one and done thing.
Yep.
Like he just invades for a day, as stupid as it sounds. But we got Superman, we got Joker, which was by far the best part of the trailer. It's like, yeah, we're gonna need Superman, and then Lois Lane's like, "You don't trust Harley? Oh no, I trust a clown with a bat. Come on."
Yeah, it was like it just he just started listing everything about her. That's like, why should I not trust her?
yeah, like a psychopathic clown girl with a bat, like robots. Yeah, no, call Superman.
Yeah.
Just like I think that was the best part. But they're in Metropolis, which throws me off. We also don't see Catwoman.
Nope, we don't see Catwoman so far. Yep.
Which is also a concern I have too.
So we have to give context that because Gotham is so destroyed.
It's a dumpster fire.
It's completely destroyed. They have ruined it to the point of no return. So they've decided that instead of trying, they're going to move their shenanigans over to Metropolis
because it's safer and better.
Yeah, a lot safer.
And then Brainiac comes to make it super safe. But the gang gets back together, minus Dr. Psycho. The King Shark's kids are hilarious.
Yep, King Shark's kids. That brought a smile to my face. But honestly, we don't know if the gang is together. We don't know if Clayface is.
Well, I'll say it this way: they say in the trailer that the gang gets back together.
True.
And they show Clayface and King Shark, but they only show King Shark with them.
Interacting with them.
Clayface is like just a snippet of himself.
He's there.
He's not shown with anybody, so there's no context.
Yes.
And then so obviously we have Superman, we have Brainiac. Apparently Poison Ivy's got to do something.
Poison Ivy's leading some new group again.
Yeah, but but there's something so like when Brainiac invades, the plan is Harley Quinn goes after Brainiac and Poison Ivy's doing something else. And she's like, "How do I have this job?"
Yeah,
How come I feel like Ivy's got the easier job?
When I saw this trailer, I actually tied it together with the Suicide Squad game because they needed Poison Ivy and her plants to defeat Brainiac.
Yes. And I think that's the whole point too.
I thought that was interesting that they were going to tie that together.
Which also, by the way, they've now just released Deathstroke into the game, which I find to be hilarious.
Which is also the final DLC for the game.
Which is hilarious because you saw nothing on everyone else.
Uh-huh.
Like it was Joker, then nobody. Even though obviously the other two characters were released, and then now they're like, "Oh, it's Deathstroke."
Yep. Yeah. No. That game was a big flop. It's unfortunate. It had so much potential, but
I think what pissed me off the most about that game, really quick as a sidetrack, was when you and I did I played the game by myself and beat Brainiac a few times.
Yeah.
But then once I joined you and Isaiah, it wouldn't let me progress by myself anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is stupid. So I stopped playing.
The thing too that I told you this. The reason why I was just
repetitive.
no, it was very repetitive. The thing that discouraged me was the fact that it was so grindy. Like it,
Yeah.
like to progress the season pass, it was
everything I hated about Destiny.
yeah. Like it was.
I hate saying it. Like it had all the good things that I like. Do not get me wrong, but like it had everything I hated about Destiny, which is why I fell off the wagon there. You know what I'm saying? Like it had everything.
The problem with these types of games is it takes so long to make, and by the time that they come out, most likely fans have already moved on, and everything about it is outdated. Like this game took, I think it took 15 years to make. So,
because didn't they start it right before Arkham Knight came out?
I believe so. Either right before or right after.
I know they had finished Arkham Knight, but they hadn't released it yet, and I think they started this game.
The thing about this too is this. So, this isn't from the same company that made Arkham Knight. It's from Rocksteady, but it was a different division.
But it's supposed to be from the same universe, and it's made by the same like overarching company.
It's from the same overarching company, but so like it's similar to, so there was Arkham City, Arkham Asylum, and then Arkham Knight. Those three games are considered like one big universe. Suicide Squad is supposed to be connected to that universe, but it's
Arkham Origins, right?
But Arkham Origins is the similar situation where they're connected, but they're made from a different company. Yeah. So they had quote unquote outsourced it. So they're not part of the main trilogy. It's like a.
Were you the one that sent me the video of? Oh my gosh, I can't even think of the actor's name that played Batman. I'm so stupid.
Kevin Conroy.
Yes. Did you see the video? Were you the one that sent me the video of Kevin Conroy, talking to an audience member about like, oh, you had to keep the secret of Arkham Knight like for so long.
I think I was.
And he's like, yeah, he goes, the bigger problem was people were talking about this game that was coming out that we didn't know about. And so I thought they were talking about Arkham Knight, and it turned out to be Arkham Origins. And I had to shut up real quick. Yep. And I got a phone call thinking I was going to get fired, and they just told me, shush.
Yep. Yeah, he got scalded for that.
To be fair though, they should have told him that another game was coming out, so that way he wouldn't get confused.
Oh yeah.
Because like, you know what I mean? Like that's just
absolutely. That's not on him. Like they didn't inform him. Like obviously,
he didn't give anything. Like he gave away that there's another game, but he didn't give away like anything else about it. But it's just like he wouldn't have had you talked about Arkham Origins.
So like at the same time, I can understand the studio because they're probably like, oh, he probably is aware that there's another game that came out. So I understand both sides because. Definitely should have told him.
No, because the game hadn't come out yet. The idea was the game hadn't come out yet. It was being talked about. So, like, he was working on Arkham Knight at the time. So he thought that when they were talking about this new game that's supposed to be
they were talking about Arkham Knight.
He thought it was his game.
Yes.
Not knowing that there was another game being made to kind of like fill in the gap while they're working on Arkham Knight.
Okay, yeah, I forgot. And I sent you that a long time ago, so I don't remember.
But anyway, so no, I just wanted to bring that up. Sorry. So yeah, so I'm excited about Harley Quinn. It actually looks really good because I know.
No, that trailer looked so good. I really hope they don't. Like the problems, like I said, with season 4 and season 3 is they like doubled down with the issues of the show. So I really hope that they do course correct.
Staying away from the relationship piece, it looks like, and they're focusing on the outside stuff. Like their relationship isn't going to be the main plot point, which I think is what's going to make it better.
I hope so because I mean,
just there's an episode or two. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, no, I
the
just
series isn't about it. Season.
It's just I want to see them getting into mischief, and like when it comes to their relationship problems, I'm just more like, okay, this is annoying.
I want to see Brainiac get destroyed. It's gonna be fun.
I want to see Brainiac just get annoyed by Harley Quinn.
I'm just curious how they're gonna play him too, because we don't get to see much of him in the trailer, and I'm curious if he's gonna be just a smartass the whole time.
Oh yeah, apparently he has a pet cat.
I know.
Everyone loves cats.
Yeah, but he must have gotten it from somebody or some other planet. But anyway,
I'm curious if Lex Luthor is going to be a part of the season and how they're going to use him.
I know because they talk about Lex Luthor here a lot.
Hmm.
I'm also curious too because I'm wondering if they're going to give it to the original actor.
Yeah, I
But to
like
be fair, he played the thing that threw me off though was the actor that played Lex Luthor, which was Moff Gideon. Didn't he play Lex Luthor in all 4 seasons of Harley Quinn?
yeah, he played it up until then they
Up until
changed
Kite
him.
Man.
Yeah,
Just
then
to
they
Kite
changed
Man.
him for Kite Man. Yeah.
So I'm just curious if they're just going to stick with him being in Harley Quinn. You know what I'm saying?
I was surprised that they switched him.
Well, I
So
don't. I that's what threw me off too because I thought it must have been like earlier on, meaning like a couple of seasons before.
yeah,
It,
all right.
anyway, but no, I mean like that was what threw me off, but it wasn't the end of the world.
No,
So
I'm wondering if there was like a scheduling conflict or
I
something.
would feel like it was because he must have been filming for Captain America.
Yeah, oh yeah, true.
Um,
But anyways, we'll see. I am looking forward to it.
oh, I this one I'm the most looking forward to out of all the last like 3 seasons. I'll
Oh
say,
yeah.
or 2 seasons, I should say. Um, what was the next trailer? The next trailer. Oh, Captain America. Stupid.
This is like a perfect segue.
No, it absolutely was, and I watched it like you wouldn't believe. So this trailer didn't really. All right, so I'll say this. I'm gonna. Overall, it did not show us anything majorly new. The difference was we got the Thinker in. Oh no, sorry, not the Thinker. Sorry, the Leader.
The leader.
We got the Leader who we did not fully see. We got
We
his
saw
front,
Shadow.
and we got to hear him.
Hmm.
So I'm very curious at how he's going to look because he doesn't have the big head,
Nope. No, he did
or at
not.
least not clearly. So I'm wondering if he's like Hulk wise, like he's got a Hulk into it.
That would be weird.
I mean, think of it this way: they did the same thing with Abomination, and Abomination normally doesn't switch from on to off.
True. That's true.
So they might do it to save money on CGI. To be honest with you,
It's fair. This
but I
trailer
also
was
wonder, too, if he
the
gets
major thing.
smarter when he does it too.
Huh?
Like I'm wondering if he gets smarter when he hulks out.
It would make
'Cause he
sense. I
doesn't-
mean,
'cause he
if
doesn't
the
get physically stronger.
yeah, no, he just gets we talked about this before. He gets he can't support his head, and then he
So
obviously
it's
gets
weird. So it's like he in some renditions he can, and then others he has an apparatus that connects to his neck to hold up his head.
that would be funny.
Which is hilarious. So like I didn't see that, so I know that's not the case.
Yeah, that would be funny to see in live action. Just if you want to make a character into a joke.
Well, I mean they did that with MODOK.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
And it worked for MODOK. I'm not gonna lie.
But
As much
MODOK
as
is a joke, so
I mean, like that's the whole point. Like they made MODOK a joke because he is a joke. But anyway, so yeah, this trailer was cool. We also get to see that apparently I mean, we kind of already knew this already. The Leader is controlling everything, and he's going to control everything.
Yep.
But it's unclear if he can control Hulks or not. Because like I remember I talked about that there's the potential of that, and it's still alluding to that in this trailer as well.
Yes.
But
The way
clear.
that when he was talking, they started showing how Thunder Ross was transforming into the Red Hulk.
Correct. Sorry, I had to mention this because we have, out of all the times we talked about the Thunderbolts, we have never talked about this piece. The Thunderbolts has an asterisk at the end of their name because nobody likes the name except for Red Guardian, and I had to mention that because that makes it even funnier that they're called the Thunderbolts.
Oh.
Because
I'll be perfectly honest. I didn't understand why people were making a big deal about the asterisk, so thank you for explaining that to me.
Well, no, because what threw me off was I saw the trailer when watching Craven, obviously, and so all of a sudden, like, it clicked in my head why the asterisk was there because it goes Thunderbolts. Where are the Thunderbolts? And everyone's like, no. And then it was the asterisk at the end. And I went, that's why, because he's the only one that likes the name.
That's okay. That makes so much more sense.
It's perfect. But anyway, so so we see Thaddeus Ross turn into the Red Hulk while the Leader is talking.
Mm-hmm.
And we clear as day know who the actor is because it's the same guy from The Incredible Hulk, which we knew already anyway, but I think we now knew, like, there was no question about it whatsoever. No.
Yep, now they officially are tying that original movie into the
whole hint was he was going to be it anyway.
Yep.
But, like, it was still, unfortunately, like, rumors until we saw his silhouette and 100% knew that his voice was his voice.
Yep.
Because the last trailer I wasn't confident. It sounded like him, but it'd been years, so I wasn't sure.
The thing about this trailer that they're showing that
oh, adamantium has officially been introduced.
Really?
So this is the key piece here. The reason why America is going into war and everything else is to fight over the adamantium, which is the celestial that has been killed.
Yes,
so
right.
They're now fighting over adamantium.
Yep.
So that's the whole thing of this. So America wants adamantium, shockingly, for weapons, and apparently so does the rest of the world. So it's not like
no wonder.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. But no, the big piece about this trailer is that they really showed that Sam is still trying to
find his way to be Captain America.
Yeah, he's trying to get over being Steve Rogers in Steve Rogers' shadow. He's still very the trailer starts off with the flashbacks of his interactions with Steve Rogers over the years, from the day he first met him to the day he said goodbye. Or the day he gave him the shield.
Which is technically the goodbye.
For the audience. We don't know if he...
No, absolutely. No, but you get what I'm saying. Like, to us, that was the goodbye.
Yep. So, and it very much ties into Thunder Ross saying like, you're no Steve Rogers. And like that, like this movie is him trying to come into his own.
But Sam is also like, you're right, I'm not. Like, he's not. I think the big difference between this movie and his series was
in his series he didn't want to be Captain America because he didn't think he deserved it.
Correct. And now he's like, I'm Captain America because somebody needs to be Captain America.
Yes.
Like, so he's doing it because of a necessity, not because he wants it. Because there's a huge difference.
No, definitely. But there's still going to be that whole, he's trying to fill his shoes instead of being his own Captain America.
I disagree. And here's my reasoning. I think the world, I think this is the difference here. Where the first rendition of it, which was Falcon and Winter Soldier, was Sam agreeing that there needed to be a Captain America, and he accepted being Captain America. I think the movie is the world accepting him as Captain America.
Oh no, I agree. Yeah,
I don't think Sam is worried about it anymore. At least not to the degree he was in the series.
So I think the only difference is, like, I agree with you in that case. I think it's going to be more of Sam, because of how the trailer started off with these flashbacks and how it like is impacting him. I think at the start of the movie he's going to try to be as close to Steve Rogers as he can for the sake of the world.
Okay, that's fair.
And as the movie progresses, like you said, when Thunder Ross said, "You're no Steve Rogers," and he says, "I know I'm not," I think at that point, then he's going to start turning, I'm not going to be Steve Rogers. I need to be myself, because then
I'm going to be Captain America. We don't need Steve. Not as like an insult, because obviously Steve's great. But the idea is, it's like, we need a Captain America. We don't. It doesn't matter who it is.
Exactly. Yes. Now that could happen at any point in the movie. Like, that could happen at the very beginning. It could happen in the middle. It could happen towards the end. So.
It also could be like, that sequence could be in the very beginning of the movie where he's like, this is how I felt before, but now I'm America. You know what I mean? Like, realistically, like, that's what we could be getting right from the get-go.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be mad about either way. We also, I don't know if you see, so Falcon, the new Falcon is going to be green. Green and silver, or green and white, I forget.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm very excited about there. And I'm curious if we're going to see anybody else. Because, and this is why I'm saying it this way, because Ross makes it seem like he wants to make a new Avengers group.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if we're going to see other heroes, or at least, even if we're not seeing them in the movie, we're seeing like their faces being like posted, like potential for new event, like government Avengers.
Yeah.
Because I would imagine like President Ross has his list of people.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't imagine him not.
Yeah.
Also, too, I don't know if you noticed, when this Hulk hulks out, he burns things.
I didn't pick that up. No.
So next time you watch the trailer, watch where his hand hits the ground and he begins to turn red. It actually sparks. Like
interesting.
The
I didn't pick up that. Yeah, I didn't pick up on that.
That's one of the things that Red Hulk does a little bit differently, obviously. Um, he's a burner, um, and he can't like emit fire. Like he's not throwing flames or anything,
Yeah.
but like he's. And the question has always been, and I don't think it's ever been truly like pinned down, or if it has, it's changed multiple times. But like he's radiating so much that he's burning people. Like he can burn things.
Okay.
So like that's one of the reasons why he's red. He's
Mm-hmm.
red hot, which is very stupid. But well, because radiation's normally green, but they can't make him green because the Hulk. I get it,
Uh-huh.
but like it's just one of those things where it's like, and then like, oh, but the blue one doesn't make things ice or water, so like, you, because there is a blue Hulk, is one of every color. There's even a blue abomination. Fun fact for the kids.
Actually, okay, so obviously I knew about the different colors of Hulks. I believe like when we first started, when we were doing there was
there's also a red She-Hulk too.
I think I did a character I think I talked about Blue Hulk, but I didn't know about the different colors of Abomination.
Yep.
The red She-Hulk I did know about. But if there's more than red She-Hulk, I don't know that.
I don't think so. I mean, I could be wrong. There might be a gray one, but I think for sure that it's just green and red. And then for Abomination, it's just Abomination and A-Bomb. A-Bomb is blue.
Never heard of A-Bomb, so.
And there's obviously others too, but they're not like a they're not considered like they're considered like Hulk creatures, but they're not considered Hulks. Or like, all right, let me phrase it this way: like it's a person with Hulk abilities. So like the leader is a Hulk being, but he's not considered like a Hulk. You understand? Or like he's not considered an abomination. He's not considered a She-Hulk. It's like its own thing.
I understand. Kind of like I think this is more of a stretch, but like a dog and a wolf.
Yes, yes, same family but clearly different.
Yep.
Where Red Hulk and regular Hulk or Green Hulk are like obviously they're different people, but they're like the same. They're considered to be the same or similar. But anyway, so yeah, I'm super excited. I've been excited for this movie to begin with. It also makes me a little sad though that the Serpent Society is not going to play a big role in it. Or no, Serpent.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm a little sad.
They're more like just they seem to just be
of the leader. They look
like. Yeah, they're not
a little disappointing, but I'm not mad about it.
But I mean, every single trailer for this movie has got me more hyped. At the very beginning of this when we talked about this movie, I was kind of like, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. And then
I was kind of on the same fence, especially when it was first announced, because because it was right after the show had ended.
Yeah,
the rumor, because originally it was rumors, and then we got confirmation it was happening. But yeah, I mean, I'm actually very much looking forward to it. It looks like the CGI is not bad at all.
No, the CGI looks pretty good right now.
From the trailer we've seen, it looks really good. We'll talk about bad CGI in a minute.
Yeah. Up next.
No, but the CGI looks good. The fight scenes look good. The action sequences look good. Again, from what we've seen, we haven't seen everything, obviously, but when you're showing the trailer, like the fact that there's none of that being shown, like bad stuff, gets me a little bit excited. Just because we've had way too many instances of trailers actually being bad.
Yeah.
Which is sad to say, but it's true. But yeah, other than that, I got nothing else to say about it. How about you?
No, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully it's a success. Marvel needs a really good success. They've been struggling lately.
I think these next two should be good. Because the Thunderbolts are their version of Suicide Squad, and that's always been a big hit.
Yeah.
And I feel like Captain America's been hyped enough that I think it's also looking good enough too. You know what I mean? Everyone likes Red Hulk or the idea of it, so they're like, a President Hulk? Like, I'm in. You know what I mean? Because it legitimately is what it is. So we'll see. I mean, I'm curious. Very much excited for it. But let's get right into Kraven. I'm assuming you saw it based on how you're describing it.
Unfortunately.
I'll say this. It wasn't as bad as I was. Now, hear me out. When I say it's not as bad as I thought, I'm talking about after I saw what all the critics were saying.
So here's the thing.
Would be my thing.
I will categorize this as it wasn't as bad as Madam Web.
Yeah, it also wasn't as bad as Joker. But that's also
So
another
I
issue.
have yet to see Joker. It
Well,
has
it's
just
on Max, so you
it
better
has
watch
just
it
released on Max.
because we
Yep.
have to do our rankings soon. So you better
That was
watch
what
it.
I was going to ask you. I was going to ask if when you're going to give me this list of stuff, otherwise, or am I going to have
Oh
to do
no,
my own research?
no. I'm gonna have to look at our videos and stuff, and I'll write the list.
I'm going to have to double check you too, because last year you missed like every single DC project that came out.
I did not. I missed.
Yes, you did.
No, I missed like 2. Anyway, so
Which was all the DC projects.
It was actually. So anyway, yeah, I just.
So here's my summary. Like you said, if we're looking at this as a action movie, it was okay. If you're looking at it in terms of an action movie for a super villain that is they're trying to make it as a superhero, very bad. It like we were going through this like it's the classic Marvel Sony situation where they just threw a bunch of characters into a movie and expected the audience to care,
but
and
also like to know
and to know who these people are.
Because
Like
one of my biggest issues, right, was so like I knew the Chameleon, I had no problem.
Yep.
I knew the doctor that they were talking about in New York.
Who was yeah okay.
Because you know him too. You know him more from the animated series, the old version. He was the one in the floating wheelchair.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'll say it this way: I don't know if they were talking about him or his father, but either way, it was one of the two.
Either way,
I assumed it was the son because the son was more biomechanical
mm-hmm.
than Dad was. But anyway, so we have that going on, right? So I knew him. I didn't know who the hell the foreigner was.
Yep. And we had a bit of we had a bit of conflicting research when we were
Well, yeah, but like I was like, okay, so I guess this guy existed, but like I never knew about him. Like he wasn't known enough. The Chameleon, I would have rather them have done more with the Chameleon than the foreigner, personally.
So I'm gonna awesome. I will start this off is like I liked the chameleon aspect. I never knew that the Chameleon and Kraven were related. So the fact that they just threw that in,
I don't think they are.
No, they are.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, I looked it up. They're legitimately half brothers.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, no, that's legit. Okay, I'm glad I'm not alone with that.
I thought that was just them adding something.
No, that was
didn't
legit.
Ruin anything to me?
No, but it was one of those things where while watching the movie, I was like, okay, this is just a random thing that they like Sony is doing just to throw characters in.
And Mike's like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, no, pretty much. I didn't know Calypso was a Marvel character.
Yes, no, I did know that.
And I obviously, because I didn't know she was a Marvel character, I didn't know she was a legitimate lover of Kraven.
Yes.
I
just had an issue that they didn't do enough backstory on her.
No, definitely not.
She's not a well-known character. You can't assume people know her.
Exactly.
So they gave us way too ambiguous stuff. Where like she's a lawyer, but she also knows archery, but we won't tell you why. And she's with the mystic arts, and it's like, pick one.
Yeah.
Pick one for this movie.
Absolutely.
Pick one for this movie.
It was just so, and then obviously the Rhino, like.
I have no problem with the Rhino. Now, hear me out on this. When I say that, what I mean is like the story behind the Rhino, I didn't have a problem with.
No. So what I mean is like it's just another layer to the movie because they're throwing so many characters into the movie that
Also, can we talk about his transformation and how like most of the time we never see him with the horn until the very end?
Until the very end where it gets broken off.
We've seen him his whole face covered multiple times, and never once the horn grow.
Yeah. It's because he wasn't fully transformed. The horn is the final touch, you know? How did you like him transforming? What did you think of that?
So I liked it a lot because here's my reasoning behind why I liked it. Because the whole idea is he's stuck as the Rhino permanently, technically. Yep. So that's always been the Rhino thing, right? That's a whole Rhino thing to begin with. So I like the idea, like without that medicine, he's Rhino. Mm-hmm. And he like, I'm okay with him having the medicine to stop him from it, because the idea is he runs out, so he's eventually going to turn into the, you know what I'm saying? Like, so like it's always a perpetual like issue for him, which I like, which has always been the Rhino thing. Rhino was, he purposely wanted to become strong, and then he's stuck as the Rhino and hates it because he can't be himself ever.
Mm-hmm.
And like that was the whole thing. So I love that actually.
Okay.
And I'll say this: the transformation piece fits with Craven's transformation as well, so it all worked for the story, in my opinion.
That's true.
Do I think it was the most comic book accurate piece? No, but I didn't hate it because it worked for the story they were going for.
It worked for the story,
and I think out of all the things, this version of Rhino, minus it being a gangster, obviously, although he kind of was, I had no issue with the Rhino's story.
What did you think of how the Rhino looked in general?
Once he was fully transformed, I actually liked him.
Mm-hmm.
I got to give them credit. They made him look comic book accurate.
They looked. I'll be honest. Like so, like at first when I saw there was an image.
Transforms. I did not like it. Like when we saw him like not fully transform, I didn't like it. I'll be honest with you. He looked way too much like the Thing.
True. Yeah, that's true.
But there was a couple of photos that I saw before seeing the movie where he looked purple.
Yeah, no, that's what I was about to say. Like when I saw some images and I was like, this just looks terrible.
That's exactly.
And then I actually like seeing in the movie, and I'm like, okay, this actually doesn't look bad.
Good. No, I have to give them credit. They actually did a good job of once he was fully Rhino, he looked good.
Yeah. There was
like that they added the weakness, which makes sense.
The little hole.
Well, because he needed it for his medicine, so
like,
I get it. Like that actually didn't bother me as much as I thought it was going to.
No, definitely. I mean, it in the case that thing was helping him, it was also his downfall. Yeah.
No, correct. It was his Achilles heel because the reason why he didn't want to stay the Rhino was the reason why he died. Like that was legitimately it, which worked 100%. Because I was like, "There's no way Craven can win this." Like
he can't win that hand-to-hand fight. No.
No, I'm like, "There's no way he can't." And then all of a sudden, he stabs him in the spot, and I went, "Oh." It was covered up. I legitimately thought it was covered up.
I didn't even think of it. I'll be honest. Like I didn't even think of it until that instant happened because it's like looking
it made it look like he was completely covered at one point.
Well, the problem is like once he looking back on it, it makes sense because if he fully transforms into the Rhino and that part gets covered up, there's no way for him to become human again.
Correct.
So
it makes sense. I'm just stating like I just didn't think of it until, right? You know what I mean? Kind of in the same boat as you. I liked it. The Foreigner kind of stunk. I
agree. I thought the Foreigner was just kind of just like definitely unneeded.
He was 100% a waste. Honestly, if they got rid of the Foreigner, I think it would have been better.
I think it would have helped because it could have used that time to help develop the other characters that needed it more.
I think Calypso was the only one that really needed more of a backstory because everyone else got a good enough backstory, in my opinion.
She definitely needed it. There was a lot of issues with her character in general where I'm like watching the movie and her lines aren't matching up with her lips and whatever.
That was another issue that they had too. But my other issue too was like her intentions were weird because she always wanted justice, but yet was doing unjust things.
She was very willing to bend the law to get. She was
like,
very much like I want to be an upright lawyer and be like.
She goes, I want to follow the law. And then she goes, I'm not going to do what you do. And then it's like, you know what? We're going to do this together and we're just going to be a team.
Yep. And then then she has like a shady partner that she gets information from. And then
it turns out to be an informant for the Foreigner / Rhino. And I'm like, the Foreigner used his powers sometimes like so stupidly.
I mean, when he snuck up on Rhino, like I'm like, oh, I guess he's not working for him, and then like, no, he is. He's just being an ass.
You know what really killed me though was when he kills the guy that was the informant for the Calypso. Like you literally could have just killed him right then and there. You did not need to hypnotize him.
Yeah, you didn't need it. That was unnecessary. Yep, 100%. And then like when he killed the informant, it looked like he was going down the stairs, but then he was actually up top
of the stairs. Yeah, it just threw me off. I guess it's to make it so it's like hypnotic and stuff. But I'm like, this is just stupid. The Foreigner was really the big downfall for me.
Yeah.
I also like the idea though. That Craven's dad was the one behind everything.
Yes,
I did like that.
It did make sense. Like I said, like in terms, like if this was a standalone action movie, it would have been decent. But
It would have been a
because
lot
they
better than what, because I had I think the other thing too is like Calypso. So we get ready to make this movie better. We get rid of the foreigner. We
Mhm.
keep everything else though. We keep everything else. We add a little bit more of like where the foreigner was by himself, and we just learn a little bit more about Calypso.
Yeah.
Like we got a decent amount about Calypso. Like her family has got a lineage of mystic powers and stuff like that. But
Yep.
we get a very like quick piece of it. We do not get anything like, oh, we didn't even know she was still practicing.
Yeah. I don't know. It was like it was a hidden secret.
Yeah, and it was like that bothered me a little bit. Like I was okay with her, like her not staying. Like I knew when she grabbed the pouch, she had another vial,
Mhm.
but like you couldn't just like mention it somewhere else for a second.
Yeah.
How did you like Craven's fight scenes?
Depends.
I think some of them worked better than others.
It was like some of them definitely worked better than others. There was a lot of instances where it was like a struggle with the CGI.
Yeah,
A lot of it when he was being more animalistic was when it was really bad. Like when Rhino kidnapped Chameleon and he jumped out of the building and slid down. That was awful. Like that one really stood out to me, and it's like,
it
um,
was a lot of like him like running around like like basically like jumping around like Spider-Man. That's how I thought of it.
yeah,
That's where I lost it because I was like, ugh, it just didn't look. It looked so fake. Like
yeah.
I was okay with him running and jumping and leaping and all that stuff. Like the parkour looked actually pretty good. I gotta give
No,
him
it
credit.
was, some of that stuff was pretty good. It was up until he was more like on when he was more running, like you said, like Spider-Man kind of thing, where he's climbing on the walls, running
Or
on all
even how you put it,
fours.
like wolf like. I don't even care how you describe it, but like it wasn't like normal, and
Yeah.
like I wouldn't. I don't know. It just bothered me a little bit. Um, yeah, it was that was where I lost it. Also, my other thing with Craven too was him drinking. I know it's weird to say.
Why?
So like he's been in the wilderness for so long, right?
Oh, you're saying that like he shouldn't be able to handle his liquor?
Like I get it, like maybe like oh with that vial he gets like makes him have a higher metabolism or whatever. I guess I don't know, but like to me, like it. I'm surprised. Like I understood when he drank like when his father was around because he like had to,
Mhm.
but like he just randomly grabbed that bottle of vodka and started chugging it at one point. Granted, it was around his dad, but you understand the point I was making.
So I guess my thing is like
He was aggressive.
because he's been hunting people, he probably goes and gets a celebratory drink or whatever, and like drinks his sorrows away. I guess like so like I didn't really think too much on that.
I don't know. It
Um,
bothered me just because it's like you're away, right? Because he's away from the world. He's in.
Supposedly, but I
Well,
mean
that's what I mean.
he at least comes back every year.
Which is also true. Which did make me change my thought a little bit, but still, I was kind of just like I don't know that part bothered me just a little bit because it's like in my mind it's like what is because I think of Craven as somebody who's like he does everything for a purpose.
Yeah,
Like he drank in front of his dad on purpose because it's a sign of status, right?
yeah,
But when you're doing it just randomly, I don't know. That bothers me a little bit. It's like I don't know. It's like Craven has a reason to do everything,
yeah.
and I don't think there was a reason for it. I don't know. That was just me, but it was a
You also
nice
have
like
to
little.
remember. You also have to remember this is an origin story, so he isn't at the point where everything has to be for a reason.
Also true, I guess.
Like
Also
this
true.
is before, like he doesn't fully become Craven the Hunter until the end of the movie.
Also, can we talk about the beginning scene where he is the prisoner, and and turns out he had killed the prisoner and took their clothes? I was not prepared for that.
I was not.
I
Nope.
thought he was legitimately arrested.
Yeah. No. That
So
I
that one that reveal actually got me. I'm not gonna
no.
lie.
That one was actually a good twist.
That also showed his cunningness and everything else, which I really love. So
No.
that I did enjoy.
I was so confused because after he wiped away the tattoo, I'm like, what was the point of that? And then
No, and then they showed the dead body and be like, "We found him." Then who the hell killed the so and so? And I'm like,
yep. No,
"Oh,
that was actually a good twist. And what's funny is that I didn't actually originally pick up on that. Steph actually pointed that out. She's like, "Oh, he killed him and took his place." I was like, "Oh crap, he did." I was just like, "What? Why is
well,
that?"
no." So
Like,
once
I thought he
he
like planted that body there after. I'm like, when did someone hunt him down and kill him?
no, I once he wiped the tattoo away, that's when I was like, "Did he replace somebody?"
Yeah,
Um, but then we saw the body and it was confirmed, and I was like,
yeah. No,
So very
that
impressive.
was good. Um,
I mean, he's a
what
great killer. I mean, I gotta give him credit. Blah blah blah. But like, I don't know. like some of the stuff that bothered me too was like he used the bow, which was weird to me. Here's my reasoning why I had a problem with the bow.
Mhm.
Okay, was, and I could be wrong, and maybe this is a different thing because it's more of a sports thing. But his dad was a hunter and used guns, right? And to me, I don't know, a bow and arrow, you don't get close to your kill, so I feel like it's similar. You understand what I mean? I
Okay.
get, I. Here's the thing, I get it. It takes more skill than a gun for sure, without a question. But I'm like, the blades make more sense because he's in there and he's like
Yeah.
an animal, right? But the bow and arrow or like the crossbow that he uses, I was kind of just like that one. That was the only kill where I like questioned like him as a hunter. I guess.
I think the thing with the bow is more along the lines
It
too
was
is
there.
it's still a weapon of from it's still a weapon for from nature.
Also true. Also true.
Whereas like a bow, even though it's man made, it is still a nature's weapon, whereas a gun is fully man made.
That's fair.
Um,
No, you know what? That is very fair because you're using animal parts in some pieces and everything else.
yeah,
So I do understand that.
and also like if you kill someone with a if you kill something with a bow, you still have to there it's typical like in most fashion when it's you kill something with a bow, it's more of an honorable kill versus with a gun, it's like a coward's way kill. You like
No, agreed. But I'm just saying like a. I'm just saying like
no,
because
I know.
the way they made it seem right
Yeah.
was he wanted it like full on hands on right,
Yeah.
and so the bow, excuse me, was what threw me off. Just because of how they painted the picture. If they
No,
would have
I
done
get
like
it.
a brief explanation, like even if it was like a line he made, like even as a joke, like I'd rather use a blade, but because you like to use guns, might as well show you what it's like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and like even something like that would have been like, okay, I have no problem. But it was just one of those minor things. But I do
Yeah.
get your point. It is a classic like man made, but also nature's man made of nature's ingredients.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that we've seen the full movie, what did you think of how they combined like made him eh, I guess kind of made him a mutant or
Well,
uh
they made him an undead basically.
yeah, but I mean superhuman undead like they combined his DNA with the lion like now that we've seen
No,
the
they
full
didn't.
movie.
No, they didn't. They didn't combine his DNA with a lion.
Well, no, the lion's blood mixing with the potion from the girl saved him and gave him the enhanced abilities. They made a big scene about that at the very beginning.
No, so I disagree. That I thought that. All right, so here's my thing. I think the lion piece on its own didn't matter as much.
I will just so if they had just if the lion had come in and mauled him and then left
Left it. Yeah, okay.
and
That's
then she
fair.
gave him the potion,
They did show
I
like the
would
drop of blood going
they
back
were
into the
like
body.
making a big thing about the blood getting into
I
his
know.
bloodstream
I don't know.
and then fusing. Like they made a big stink about that.
All right, here's my thing. I took the lion out of it for a reason, mentally,
Okay.
because it was the formula piece that he was obsessed with, because he wanted to replicate it, which is very much Craven.
Yeah, okay.
So like that's what I loved about it. So that piece is where I stuck with. So I actually liked it.
Okay. I mean
It actually worked out better, in my opinion.
it in the whole like scheme of it like I was still I was still a little weirded out with it like the whole like him getting turning on his animal powers kind of thing was like
That's still weird. I get it, but I don't think it's animal powers. I think he's enhancing his senses. So like he uses it to because like years of practice, I would imagine. Like he can't like I imagine like when he first started, like it was really difficult for him to like control it,
yeah.
and then now he's able to do it much better, like using the eyes of the hawk. Sorry, strength of a lion,
Uh-huh.
climbing of a monkey, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Um, so all that combined like helped out significantly. One of like the other issues too, like him climbing a building with boots on.
Just like without any issues just climbing up the tree, climbing up the building with like with absolute ease.
No, I was probably climbing up the building. It was the shoes that bothered me. Like when he was barefoot, it was more believable. He had the
Yeah.
clunky boots. That's what
True.
threw me off.
No, that'll give you, like, if he's barefoot, you can get
I
better
can at least
traction
I can
potentially.
but I can at least understand it.
Mhm.
Like I'm not saying like I agree with it 100%, but like I'd be like, okay, that makes more sense. Because a lot of rock climbers, excuse me, if they're not barefoot, which some people do barefoot, which is weird, they do like the shoes that are like super super thin,
Mhm.
like they're thick, like it's weird, like it's super protected, but like it's thin enough that you can bend it with your foot, so like you have like the traction and the grip.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean overall it wasn't awful. I like the chameleon, like I said, the chameleon was actually pretty cool. I like that twist.
I like at the end how he fully became the chameleon.
Yeah, because he went to New York, which was cool.
Yep.
Which is also why he grew his finger back.
Yeah. I did notice that. I was like, "Oh, wait, the finger's not gone."
Which I did like, but it made sense because the chameleon grows back.
Yep.
Um,
And so like when they originally said like, "Oh, they went to the doctor to fix him," I was like, "Oh, the doctor put the finger on," and then he did more. I
no,
was like, "What?"
soon as he said he went to go see the same doctor as the rhino, I said, "Oh, he's really the chameleon," because I was questioning whether he was gonna be the chameleon
Mm.
because I wasn't sure. But then he became it, so I was like,
Which is so like obviously like I have a lot to talk about in terms of the Sonyverse and whatever. There's been I know I mentioned it to you that the Sonyverse, according to according to reports, Craven is the last movie of the Sonyverse. The Sonyverse is ending. So there was no post credit scene in this movie,
correct.
but they hinted at this story continuing at the end of the movie.
Yep.
Which obviously Craven officially becomes Craven. Chameleon looks like he's going to be the target for the going forward because he needs to. Craven wants to bring down all the big bads, which is
Well, he wants to bring down his dad's operation, and his brother brought it back.
well, he wants to bring down people like his dad, and now it just so happens that his brother is now going to be a target.
Yes.
Because he was purposely staying away from his father in the movie
Yes.
for I guess out of
father.
Yeah, because it was
And
his
he
father.
He legitimately says it too. He's like, "Because
Yeah.
you were my father." And
Yep.
he goes, and then he has the bear kill him.
Yep.
Which also is a little weird too, because the talking with the animals thing.
That was my next question. Was like, is that a thing in the comics?
I don't think so. I think it's a respect thing. Like he's like in the beginning, like we see him like get respect or like fear from animals, and that's typical. Like that's a typical like thing in the comics. However, the talking to animals, because that's what I took it as on that last piece. Because like everything else, no, it wasn't clear as day that it was talking.
Yeah,
but it was kind of more of like a.
But at the very end, where he summoned the bear, yeah.
Yeah. So give me 2 seconds. I want to find out.
Like I liked at the beginning where the czar lion like wasn't originally attacking him because he wasn't showing fear. Like he was it looked like that respect thing.
Okay, so he doesn't talk to animals. He tames them.
Like okay, like head of the head.
Yeah, so he trains
like head of the pride.
There's a thought that he may potentially mind control the animals in some sort of capacity, although it's never been confirmed.
Okay.
So
all right. Well,
it's more of like a training piece, which I mean that makes sense.
Especially with the leopard. They showed that in the movie with the leopard.
So like it makes sense, but like it wasn't clear as day, like shown obviously, but the bear made it seem like it was talking more. But it's also like a tame thing, so I'm fine with it either way.
Yeah.
It didn't really super worry me, but yeah, that was Craven. Let's go right into Skeleton Crew. How did you feel about this episode?
I enjoyed it. It was again just more fun. I mean,
this one actually gave me more in the sense of like, so we got confirmation that
we got more with his sketchy
Jack
past.
Crimson Jack is the captain that we saw in the beginning.
Yep,
for sure.
We see that a lot of people don't trust him. The
Nobody.
owl.
His friends.
Yeah, the owl is was ready to turn him in until she found out that he found until he found At-Atten.
Well, kind of, sort of, but yes.
Well, yeah. There was.
He found out that it was real. I'll say it that way.
Yeah, they found out that it was real, and they have a possible link to it. We
Yes.
found out that we answered your question at the beginning about how At-Atten, why it was so far removed. Like, they didn't realize that were things that were going on.
Yep.
They confirmed that At-Atten has just been completely cut off.
Yes.
Which, you know, they even mentioned it, like, oh, you know, we've learned about Alderaan and Coruscant, and then the owl was like, oh wow, you've really been out of the loop. You know, you remember, you know, Alderaan. Like, obviously, we know Alderaan was destroyed in Episode 4.
You know, I agree, and so like that was kind of the big thing for me, where it gave us more context of Atten.
Yeah.
But it also told us too, like when we see a quick snippet of the families being like, we need to get our kids, and they're outside the barrier, they're gone.
Yep, there's nothing we can do. Like, it's against the rules to go outside the barrier. And it's like, oh, call the Republic, and it's like, we cannot communicate with the outside of the barrier. It's like, what?
Which makes me very much question like what's going on Atten.
Yeah. I loved, so when we're just gonna call him Crimson Jack. When Crimson Jack is looking for the droids, and when he finds the battle droid, and the battle droid wakes up, and he's like, "Did we win?" He's like, "Oh, you poor soul."
Say that again.
When Jack was looking for the droid, and he finds the battle droid, and and he wakes him up, asking him if he's the right one, and he's like, "Oh, did we win the war?" No.
Falls apart.
You poor soul.
Yeah, that was actually that was a real great throwback for sure.
No, it is like the goofiness of the battle droids are still there. It's
absolutely. Loved every second of it. But yeah, no. So yeah, we get a bunch more of Crimson Jack and like his past. They still go with him though, and it's alluded to the fact when they go into hyperspace, leaving the owl, that the thought is that they're going to At-Atten, even though it's not confirmed.
Well, so like he after going through the database, he believes that he's found it.
But yes, but also Crimson Jack knows that his friend the owl wouldn't have taken that long to create the star path. So the fact that he was stalling, he's like, oh no, he found it. He's now trying to keep me here.
Well, no, because he knew that the owl called the Republic, because he was making excuses. The owl was making, I forget her name. No, it was Kim. The owl was Kim.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Kim, spelled it in a weird way.
I'm not gonna argue. Okay.
So Kim obviously was like making excuses to keep them there, and like that's when he like she was stuttering kind of to give reasons why. Oh, it's going to take a few more moments,
even though he knows that there had to have already been done.
Yeah. They find out. We obviously get confirmation, which we kind of were a little bit weird with. Is like Crimson Jack wasn't a Jedi. He's just a Force user.
Which we kind of, I guess, sort of, kind of.
When we categorize people into Jedi and Sith, we always forget that there are outside Force users that aren't a part of either order.
Correct. I do have to agree with you on that one. That I definitely did that.
So like we knew, like we were like, oh, he's not really a Jedi, but he definitely, like, we just call him a Jedi. It's like how the kids don't know better, so like they just see a Force user and they're like, oh, you're a Jedi. You know, I liked that, and then it's like he's like, oh, well, I didn't really say I wasn't a Jedi. You kind of just said that, and I went along with it. You know,
which was a whole nother thing. But yeah, this one was a quick one in the sense of like video wise, or I felt like it was. Excuse me. But it was well done. I enjoyed it. We got more Crimson Jack, which is what we needed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's alluding that we're going to make it to At-Atten, or at least the place that the owl thought was At-Atten.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
We see that obviously when we saw the parent, I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a massive uproar online because
KB's parents are both female.
Yep, the KB has two moms.
I knew that right away.
You knew it right away. It's
as
like
you said there was controversy with the parents. I said it was the two moms.
Yep,
I didn't even care.
like everyone's like they were not involved in the story whatsoever, and like why are you making this a big deal?
What does it matter? Is my thing. Is like what does it matter?
It doesn't. It doesn't. It's just it's got a
species works. We don't know.
It's just such a big controversy that God. I'm curious about how obviously the pirates are going to be hunting them down.
Well, there's going to be a bounty, which means there's going to be people we haven't seen go after them too. Which
that
is
too.
Huge.
Yep.
Because that changes it.
No, the bounty is going to be around. They're going. I think obviously anytime there's a report, those guys are going to be following, kind of thing.
You think we're going to see some bounty hunters we've seen before?
So apparently, while they were escaping from the port, people were saying that they spotted a certain ship.
Which was?
Your favorite pirate. I thought you were going to put 2 and 2 together. I'm sorry.
No, I was going with Boba Fett and what's her name?
Who?
She was also in the Bad Batch. She was the assassin.
Oh. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
But anyway,
I forget her name.
Yeah.
But
that's who I thought we were talking about at first, but no, that makes more sense.
No, yeah. There's rumors that he might appear in this show, so that'll be interesting.
And to be fair, out of all the shows, this would be the most likely.
Yeah.
Because it's pirates. I mean, let's be fair. If he's not in it, it's kind of a sad moment for us all.
There's really no other perfect opportunity to like slide him in.
No, I mean, I agree with you. But overall, like I said, I'm very excited about it. It's going in the right direction. There's really not much that was given other than the fact that we don't know what's going on yet. But I think that's the point.
No, absolutely. And then the robot is so fun. Just I've been seeing so many memes. I saw so many memes of like the Homer Simpson disappearing into the bush. He's like, I goes into the bush and pops back out. I goes back in. I'm like, it's so goofy. It is perfect for a kid's show.
Perfect. No, it's absolutely perfect. And he's also got the stereotypical pirate voice too, which is even funnier.
I love that Crimson Jack is trying to like intimidate him, and he just stands in full guard, and like Crimson Jack just like,
you know what, you win.
Yep, good talk. But all right, I mean that's all I have on this. So unless you have something else, then we can move on to Creature Commandos.
This was another quick one too that threw me off too. So we get pretty much the huge backstory of G.I. Robot.
I loved this.
No, it was really well done. I'm not arguing that.
No, I'm not saying you didn't. I'm just
no. Mike's saying it. So for me, I like the backstory, and like I also like too that it like we got to see him in the war, but then we got to see him after the war, which I thought was really crucial. And like, kind of getting where he is now. And I'll say this: my biggest issue with that whole show episode, which is going to be so funny to you anyway, is the trial in present day of him being put to trial to killing a bunch of white supremacists.
Yeah. Okay.
I find it hilarious because he's a robot.
Yeah.
Why is he on trial?
So that's the thing is that was like the overarching question of this episode is like, does he have a soul? Because he has a soul, should he be tried as a person? Like that was the whole overarching story of this, and I loved it.
It worked. I'm not gonna lie, it definitely worked. I'm not gonna question that whatsoever. I'm just stating like I just wasn't sure. Like I was kind of like that was the only piece where I was like, oh, you know what I mean? But everything else was perfect because and again the trial piece was just because I'm like, why are they wasting time on a trial for this guy? It's just me.
So I personally think it added a lot to this because of the fact that like the way that they were setting up this episode, like I said, they were questioning whether he had a soul or not. And
fair.
So like right at the beginning, like the scientist was like, oh, I'm going to improve you, make you better. right now you just have one programming to destroy Nazis. I think you can be so much more, and GI is conflicted with that.
Well, he's also not at the same time. This is where it gets weird too, right? So
Yeah.
like he wants to have fun to a certain degree, but his fun is very interesting.
But you forget too that he still wanted to be a part of a family.
No, absolutely.
In the entire episode, he was thinking about being with Easy Company. Like they said, like, "Oh, what is your dream?" And he said, "I want
to be with Easy Company, killing Nazis together."
Yeah,
minus the Nazi piece, he wanted to be with them.
Yeah,
that was the big thing.
And even towards the end of it, like he cared about Nina.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. There's no question about it. His programming, and that's his overarching thing, is to kill Nazis.
Yes.
But he wants to be a part of a group to do that with. And that's like in his head, he's like, "Oh, I'm having fun killing Nazis. Like this is my fun," which he had way too much fun doing it.
Absolutely.
But like that was just his way of like connecting with other beings.
Absolutely.
And he didn't know how to do it any other way.
Correct.
Like you said, going through the story with like when he got bought by the white supremacists, like they were talking about how, you know, the guy is alone with a family of cats, and he's like, "Oh, isn't it great to be a part of a family, having friends and whatnot?" And then like they cut to the scene where it's just like all Nazis. I've been seeing so funny. It's like I see so many. I was like going through the comments, and I'm like, it's such a bad thing where like he just it's a bunch of Nazis, and no one's in uproar about how he just brutally murdered a bunch of people for without question. It's like they were Nazis. It's like so.
The thing that kills me, that was my big issue too. Was like that was I think my biggest issue about the trial was I understand their point process of like, oh, like he's he killed all those people, but like they were white supremacists. Like that was what he was meant to kill.
But here's the thing, is like I understand that. Like, believe me, don't get me wrong, I understand it. But at the same time, they were not doing anything wrong in terms of the law, so they didn't really have a right to be murdered, especially because this was so many years after World War II.
I mean, I guess so, but I think to me it was just less of a thing for me. That was just a me thing.
No. I mean, I understand as part of the story. Like, I'm not making a big deal about it. I'm like, they were enacting their right of free speech. They were not killing anybody. They were just talking about how they hate everybody else because they're scumbags. But they didn't really do anything wrong, so they didn't really deserve to be murdered in cold blood.
But I also like too that they purposely made it so these guys looked frail and weak.
Oh yeah,
I think that was the bigger point too, to make us feel slightly bad for them.
Well, yeah, we were misunderstanding them. That was like the whole thing of it. It's like they just wanted to be part of a group. Like that. That was the overarching part of the story. Is like he wanted to be part of a group.
So I mean, like I said, it was very well done. We also get to see him detach and start killing all the Nazis.
Yep.
Which was cool. But then Cersei blows him up.
Cersei blows him up, and then Cersei gets obliterated by Weasel.
Weasel and Dr. Phosphorus.
And Dr. Phosphorus. I thought she was killed. I thought she died.
I
thought
then she was dead, and the fact that she was still talking, I was like, okay.
And obviously now they let it on the cliffhanger of it's like, you stopped me from killing her. Now the world is doomed.
And so, which is making me question, like, what is the doom?
Yeah, like what's going on with this?
Yeah, so I'm very curious to see that because I thought she was the main bad guy, and she's not.
Clearly not. There were a lot of where was it? I have it. There were a lot of hidden characters that were brought into this episode when they were driving him through the
time.
When he was put in jail.
Oh,
you didn't see those characters?
Obviously not.
They were in the background when he was walking through. They were walking him to jail. They were villains in the background. So they showed Shaggy Man, who is a uh, unkillable hairy monster.
Okay.
There was animal, vegetable, mineral man. There was he. So if you notice in the jail cell, it was a man with a tree arm, and then like his face was half man, half dinosaur.
I don't think I paid attention enough.
I'll be honest, like I don't know how you missed this. Like it was
When he was being wheeled into prison, right?
yeah, like going through the jail cell. Yeah.
I don't think I paid attention to who was around. That's sad.
There was the fisherman, and then there was Crimson Centipede, which was a giant man centipede. It goes more along. I'm just bringing this up because it's classic James Gunn, where it is he's bringing in minor characters into the spotlight. Granted, they're not like in the forefront, but he's giving a nod to the past.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know you didn't really. I guess you didn't really think too much of this episode. I absolutely loved this episode.
No, so here's my thing. I like the episode. My whole thing was it was great for G.I. Robot, and what was sad was the moment that this episode was so focused on him, I was like, he's gonna get blown up.
I mean, I think obviously that's the direction the show is going to be going. Each character is going to get a spotlight of how they ended up where they are. Which like
the good thing is, I mean, G.I. Robot can be rebuilt, so it's not the.
That's so like even though he is destroyed,
dead.
He might not actually be dead.
Correct. But I'm curious about the Cersei piece. That's what throws me off because she's making it seem like there's a bigger bad, and I thought she was the big bad.
Yep.
So the fact that she was defeated. So this whole episode, what threw me off was she was defeated. So I was like, where's the rest of the series going to go?
Yep.
Right. And then I thought she was dead, just like you. And then she wasn't dead. And then I'm like, there's somebody worse. Then who is it? Because like I'm trying to think of like who it would be, and like nobody's ringing my bell right away, because everyone I think of is like Wonder Woman level. But like, why? You know what I'm saying? So like I'm missing something somewhere.
Obviously, it's going to be explained in the next episode,
or partially at the very least.
Also, I also want to point out real quick because I forgot. It does seem like possibly that those the soldiers are Atomic Knights. The way that they are fighting is very, very much that character.
Which could be part of the reason why they're a problem and need to be taken out.
Yeah, I mean they could be. I mean they could just be
taken out really easy too.
Well, most of them, yeah, most of them were.
But no, it was very good. I very much enjoyed it. I thought we were getting Frankenstein, and we did.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that, as soon as the episode started, I was like, oh well, Scott was wrong.
I was, because I really thought that the Frankenstein was going to be there because they heavily made it seem like it was going to be his come out, like his debut.
He's going to show up at some point.
Definitely. I mean, they're not going to have him just for that one episode.
Oh yeah, no. I mean,
they made him like the cover of the show.
He's a part of the trailer. No. He's a part of the intro.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So he's got to have more role than what he has so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the rest of this series. I'm just curious about the Cersei piece because that's what really threw me off this episode.
Definitely. Clearly, the way it seems is the princess isn't as good as we thought. So it could be going. It could be
because it doesn't mean the princess. It could mean the rule. So I'm curious on that piece too.
True.
We'll have to wait and see.
We still have yet to see Clayface. So
also true. We'll have to wait and see.
Yep. Before we go on to your character spotlight, I do want to touch upon a couple other things, not for Creature Commandos, but in DC in general. We have gotten a list of release dates for movies and shows coming out for DC. Clayface, that Clayface standalone movie that I was telling you about, it got approved. Its release date is going to be
32
September 11th of 2026.
Earlier than I was expecting.
And it is released. So it's going to be written. It's going to be produced by Matt Reeves. And it's going to be written by Mike Flanagan.
Is it going to be Clayface from Matt Reeves' universe, or is it going to be part of the DC?
That's how I'm going along with it. It looks like it's going to be a part of the the Elseworld universe.
Okay.
Just off of
That's fine. I'm just curious because if it's Matt Reeves, it makes me assume that it's part of that universe.
Yep. So Mike Flanagan, the direction they're going with this movie seems to be it's going to be more horror-esque because Mike Flanagan does a lot of horror movies.
Which I'm fine with because that I mean, also doesn't he specifically do monster horror films?
Um
Or am I thinking of him?
he
Am I mixing him up with somebody else?
let me hold on. I have a list of his movies. Um he did
Those are
he
two
so
very
he
different things.
no, definitely. He did Doctor Sleep. He did The Haunting of Hill House. Um he did Ouija, he did The Exorcist.
Okay. No, it's just horror in general. Okay.
Um
It doesn't change
he
anything, but I was just curious because Clayface can be a horror monster,
Yep,
which is different than just a horror movie. Um, okay, I'm not mad about it because I was thinking like Wolfman,
he did The Haunting.
Nosferatu, Dracula. You know what I'm saying? Like those
Yep.
types of things, because that's more of like Clayface,
Oh,
at least in a
100%.
horror version, right?
Yep.
But it doesn't ruin anything. I mean, if he does horror, he does horror. You know what I mean? It just changes it slightly. That'd be kind of
Um
cool. But
and
then that
then
also means your theory's wrong. That woman isn't Clayface.
well, that we don't know.
I don't know.
Why would that make me wrong?
Well, all right, so hear me out, right? So the actor that's going to be playing Clayface, who I thought was going to be in James Gunn's um, universe of Clayface, I wouldn't think they would use the same actor for the two of them.
Well, if she okay, no, I understand where you're coming from in that
Because he's
case.
been announced as the voice of him.
Yes.
So, like, to me, that
Hang on.
means you're wrong. No offense.
No. You could yeah. I would give you that. Let me
Although
see
I
if
still
I
like
can.
your theory. Don't get me wrong. I'm just stating, like,
I forgot to take a picture of it, but I saw a thing of where so there's a list of what's going to be part of the DCU and then there's going to be part of the Elseworld universe.
okay.
And I don't remember where Clayface fell.
Oh, okay.
Um but anyways, while I'm looking for that, the other thing that got announced for June 30th of 2028, which is a long ways away, they announced the dynamic duo. Which is going to be Nightwing and Robin. So there's going to be a standalone movie. There's two other movies that got announced as well. They got release dates, but they didn't give it a title. So that's still going to be a work in progress.
Okay, can we just say something here? The fact that they announced a Nightwing and Robin movie before being introduced to Batman.
I mean, this is also 4 years out. So
Also true, also true, also true. Okay.
So I mean, there's a lot that can come about in 4 years.
Also true. But anyway, anything else you want to talk about for that, or can we move on to my character spotlight?
You can move on to your character spotlight. When I find that little list of things, I will mention at the end. Before I will not interrupt you.
Okay, everyone. So my character spotlight is a character that is beloved by everyone who has ever met him. However, if you've played against him in Marvel Rivals, you hate his entire guts. It is Jeffrey the Land Shark. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is Jeffrey the Land Shark of Earth 616. If you don't know who he is, get ready. So, Jeff, or Jeffrey, as he likes to be called sometimes, Jeff was a land shark that was among the land sharks created by MODOK Superior. Following the fight against the Masters of Evil West Coast, Jeff was adopted by Gwenpool during her time on the West Coast Avengers. He later ended up with Elsa Bloodstone, who you should know from Werewolf at Night, Michael, who promised to always take care of him. However, Gwen transported Jeff to Gwenpool's island, where he stayed in her viewing box with her friends instead of being forced to fight. He then watched Gwenpool fight and defeat the Hulk. Don't ask me why she did. She did. Gwenpool then decided to leave Jeff with Deadpool after she had doubts that she would ever have a solo series again, causing her to be worried about Jeff's future. Jeff served as Deadpool's royal pet while he was king of Staten Island. Elsa Bloodstone took over from Deadpool and became Jeff's new caretaker. Once at a pool party, Jeff accidentally scared everyone away while swimming with only his fin above the water. When he emerged, he realized what had happened and everyone ran away. So to prevent this from happening, Jeff got a dolphin costume and swam with that instead, so that way people wouldn't be scared while he was swimming in the water. I'm not making this up.
That's hilarious.
At some point, Jeff found his way to the Netherlands. We had fun running through the fields of tulips. Once again, he scared locals away because the only thing that was visible was his fin above the flowers. Jeff once stole Captain America's shield, Kate's trick arrows, Miles Morales' mask, Stephen Strange's Eye of Agamotto, Falcon's wings, and Black Widow's gauntlets. He later used those items to ambush the heroes when they went searching for their missing items. He also somehow came across the Infinity Gauntlet and ate it, along with other items as well. This, however, caused him to have a great stomach ache and was forcing Kate to bring him to a doctor. Jeff began living with Kate Bishop. Inexplicably, Jeff became bonded to a symbiote, but appeared to be all right with the situation. After some time, Kate helped Jeff get rid of the symbiote. The symbiote didn't perish, however. It lay dormant in Jeff's closet, because that's what it does. After Jeff was left behind in Kate's apartment due to taking too much time to change costumes, the symbiote rebonded to him. Jeff attempted to take it off and rampaged a bit through Central Park until they decided that they should work together and get some food. Meaning the symbiote and Jeff. So the symbiote possessed Jeff arrived to Coney Island where they stole food from stands, but were interrupted and attacked by zombieites. Now I know what you're thinking. What the hell is a zombieite? Well, I'll tell you. A zombieite is basically most commonly zombies that have been reanimated by symbiotes. Reanimated by undead symbiotes. I have to be very specific. I do apologize.
There are undead symbiotes.
Yep. And they were introduced in this year, so that makes it even more fun.
I don't like that.
So, because it is Jeff, and he's now possessed by his own symbiote. Although not possessed, they work together. So Jeff helped Hawkeye, Gwenpool, America Chavez, and Fuse in fighting the zombeites, using his symbiote powers to take them down, and after the zombeites were defeated by a giant speaker broadcasting... Take a guess, what were they broadcasting?
Come get eaten.
Baby Shark. So, Jeff and his symbiote willingly separated from each other. With that out of the way, Jeff and his hero friends and the surrounding crowd celebrated with churros together. And that,
churros. Churros in particular.
That, my friends, is Jeff the Shark. He's been known by many names. Jeffrey's the first name he was ever given. He was also known as Jeffrey, the first of his name of the former Staten Island, which shouldn't be a shock that is what Deadpool called him. His alias has been Jeff the Baby Land Shark and Venom Jeff, which is also funny to me as well. Jeff was introduced in 2019, which I find to be very funny. His overall personality is the behavior of a domesticated dog. He enjoys swimming and being in water in general. He becomes affectionate towards anyone that has been his caretaker. He's also been proven to be quite a troublemaker and a gluttonous little beast. But all he's ever wanted out of life was having fun with friends and eating all kinds of food. Despite this, he's also been a loving individual who sets aside his desires to help out those in need. And his powers, well, hope you're ready for this. He has the ability to breathe underwater.
Shocking.
Although he was created to live on Earth without the need of water, he still retains his gills and can swim in water without a problem and swim underneath the water without an issue. His former abilities were Optic Blast, because apparently after ingesting some magical stone that Doctor Strange possessed, he gained the ability to project optic beams out of his eyes. However, he lost that ability once he threw up the stone. Jeff is also known to be quite smart. Apparently, he has been able to mix chemicals, accidentally replicating the effects of the Pym particles. It is unclear if he was doing that on purpose to create Pym particles, or if he was just mixing chemicals to be funny and it turned out to be Pym particles. Jeff had in his possession a device that created portals, which allowed him to teleport between places. It was eventually taken away from him by the Hulk, because Hulk don't like Shark to take teleporter. And let's just add some fun facts. Um, he was created by MODOK, although he doesn't like MODOK at all. Um, However, he owns plushies of Lockjaw and Devil Dinosaur, two characters in the Marvel Universe who are dog-like. The reason why I say it that way is because Lockjaw is a dog. However, it's a massive space dog. But Devil Dinosaur is a T-Rex that has been domesticated and acts like a dog. So it's just funny that his two plushies are creatures that are very similar to him in the sense of domesticated animals that are surprisingly domesticated. I'll say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, he's brand new to the scene, 2019, and he's been a fan favorite for comic book fans. And he's one of the main characters in Marvel Rivals, and he is not liked in Marvel Rivals because of what his ability can do. He eats the opponents, puts them in his stomach, and regurgitates them. So what a lot of people have been doing has been using him
So
and Doctor
Kirby.
Strange. Yes, but the difference is, so Doctor Strange in the game has the ability to make portals. So
Yep.
Doctor Strange will make a portal where Jeff will sacrifice himself, eat all of the enemies, jump through the portal to fall off the map, to then regurgitate them, and they all die.
I've seen so many videos of Doctor Strange opening a portal right at the beginning, and people walk right through it and fall off the map, and the game's over.
Well, it's not over because it's just like Overwatch. They get their lives back.
Oh, they respawn. Okay.
Yeah, they respawn. So they have like objectives and stuff like that they have to do, but it still knocks them out for a bit, right? Also, another thing that Doctor Strange does in that game, just to add insult to injury, is he'll put the portal in their spawn, so one on one side, one on the other, so they just walk in a loop. Pisses people off like you wouldn't believe, and it's for 30 seconds, and it's great. But then Jeff the Land Shark shoots water out of his mouth in the game, bites people obviously, and teams up with none other than the Hulk, Luna Snow, and I think that's it between the two of them, because he gets special powers being with them. So when he's with the Hulk, he rides on Hulk's shoulder, which is hilarious. And then when he's around Luna Stone, he no longer shoots water; he shoots ice. But it's just kind of funny.
Did you? I know you had said at the very beginning that you said that he was domesticated by or adopted by Lady Deadpool. Gwenpool. Sorry, thank you.
There is a difference, only because I want to make that clear.
You're right. I had read somewhere that he was living with. I thought it was Lady Deadpool, but it might be Gwenpool. Then he was living with one of them, and Deadpool was living with them, but the other left Deadpool, and when she left, he had lied to Jeff to make sure that he didn't get upset because he cared about them.
That's probably 100% right.
Yeah, I read that. So he didn't want to. Deadpool didn't want to upset Jeff, so he had lied that they left.
I think what happened was because Gwenpool's ability is she's a human in the comic books, so like she's a legitimate human being who was a comic book fan who became part of the story, which is why she donned on the name Gwenpool.
Okay.
So she knew that she probably wasn't going to get another story again.
Mm-hmm.
So she's well aware. She's more aware than Deadpool, which is weird to say. Because it's weird. So anyway, so she then realizes she's not going to have a story anymore because she's not being as popular anymore. But she didn't want Jeff to go away, so she wanted Deadpool to take Jeff. So when her story ended, Jeff would still have a story because she knows without a story, you don't exist.
Yep. Okay. that makes sense.
So Deadpool then lies, because that's what he does, to get Jeff to not think about Gwenpool too much.
Yep.
But yeah, I like Jeff the Land Shark just because I use him in Marvel Snap. He's awesome there, but he's huge in Marvel Rivals right now, and they're adding so many new characters to Marvel Rivals already, and it is still doing really well. And like Iron Fist is in there, which is surprisingly one of the best characters, which I find to be hilarious to me.
I've seen videos of him beating Iron Man, and people are like, "This doesn't make sense."
Well, the whole idea is like he does like these kicks with his chi that like propels him forward, which is like flying, and it irritates people to no end. And it's hilarious because like watching Iron Man get beat up by him is perfect, but also because Iron Man doesn't realize he's behind him, which is hilarious.
Yep, he's just taking damage, then all of a sudden he turns around, and he's dead.
Yeah, but Punisher's also cool in it too. Watching him use his machine gun with the portal that Doctor Strange makes is also really cool too.
Mm.
But anyway, that being said, it's really cool seeing all these characters combine and fight. But like I said, Jeffrey the Land Shark is one of the most hated characters in that game. However, one of the most beloved characters in Marvel Universe. So for now, if you've liked... Oh, did you find... Oh, sorry, Mike's got his list.
I got my list. Okay, so for the Elseworld stories, which is directed by Matt Reeves,
yes,
it is the Superman documentary.
Superman documentary?
Yeah, it's the documentary about Christopher Reeves. What?
Okay, it's not a. What throws me off is it's not an addition to the story.
No, so no. It's just going into the background of how he became a Superman.
Okay.
Now, I want to point out that Superman is not combined. It is Super dash Man.
Yeah, because it wants to be very much separated.
Yep. So it is the Penguin, Harley Quinn, and the Batman Part 2. That is part of the Elseworld stories.
So Harley Quinn, the show.
The show.
But notice how there's no Kite Man.
I'm assuming that these are.
But you understand what I'm saying, though. Like, I want to make that clear because we've been talking about that.
No. So these are the upcoming stuff.
Oh, okay.
And then they're in the DC universe, which is James Gunn. It is Creature Commandos, Superman, Peacemaker, Lanterns, which comes out next year. Supergirl,
show, right? That's a show.
Yes.
Okay.
Supergirl, which also comes out next year.
Yep.
Well, no, sorry, 26. Because I'm.
Oh yeah. Sorry. You're right. It feels like next year, but
we're basically there. The Dynamic Duo and Clayface.
Okay.
So Matt Reeves is just directing, is just.
So I don't feel so that's separate. So
yes.
Even though Matt Reeves is directing it or writing it or whatever, it is not part of the Batman Elseworld area. So you still could be right.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, everyone, that's going to be it for us today. Next week, we're going to be talking about the latest episode of Creature Commandos and the latest episode of Skeleton Crew. And a couple... No, we are not. There will be no episodes of What If next week.
No. Next week should be just those two.
Yeah.
Those two. If we get more trailers, we'll see.
Then we'll talk about more trailers, and then it'll be ending with a character spotlight from Mike next week.
Actually, wait, no. We are getting the first trailer for Superman next week.
Oh, no, that is true. We are getting that. We do know that. But it hasn't happened yet, obviously.
Yep.
But we at least know it's coming. So for now, if you made it this far into the video, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Scott and Mike signing out of the Black Eel Podcast. Have a wonderful day.